The war between humans and the Valari Dominion was something no one had expected. The Valari were an old space empire, powerful and proud, ruling many star systems with discipline and strict military strength. For hundreds of years, they believed they were the most advanced and strongest race in the region. Then humanity appeared. Humans came from a small blue planet, new to deep space. The Valari thought humans would be weak, easy to defeat. But humans were not easy. They were fast learners. They built new technology quickly, adapted to new environments faster than anyone expected, and most of all, they refused to give up. It did not take long before the war became serious. On a small desert moon called Creo 7, a human outpost called L9 stood alone. It was not large. It did not have many soldiers, but it was in a strategic place near a Stargate route. The Valari wanted this outpost. Humans wanted to hold it. Every day there were attacks. Every day people fought, repaired, and prepared again. Among the soldiers on Outpost L9 was Rylan Hayes, a human mechanical engineer. He was not a hero. He did not lead missions or carry a large gun. His job was to fix things: combat drones, armor plates, weapon systems, defense turrets, and sometimes damaged vehicles. He was patient, calm, and hard-working. People said he had steady hands. In war, steady hands were more valuable than courage. On the 42nd day of the siege, everything changed. That morning, the sky above Creo 7 was a strange color. Thin red dust blew across the ground. The outpost buildings were worn and dented from explosions. Solar panels had scorch marks. The air smelled like heated metal. Rylan woke early and walked to the repair bay. He cleaned his tools, checked the equipment, and tried to ignore the distant sound of artillery somewhere far beyond the horizon. He worked quietly. He did not like noise. At midday, the alarm sounded, a loud, sharp sound that echoed across the entire outpost. Wee-yo! Wee-yo! Incoming enemy dropships, soldiers ran. Officers shouted orders. Defense systems powered up. Energy barriers shimmered. Rylan grabbed his tool pack and helmet and ran outside. He did not carry a big weapon, only a compact sidearm. He stayed near the defense lines because something always broke during the first minute of a battle. He was right. The north turret overloaded and shut down. If it stayed offline, the enemy could land troops directly toward the command center. Rylan sprinted across open ground, energy fire flashing around him. He slid behind sandbags and opened the turret panel. Sparks showered out. The internal circuits were burned. Come on, come on. Rylan muttered, rewiring by hand. He heard shouting. Human soldiers took positions. Valari soldiers were landing. Tall figures with metallic armor that shimmered like scales. Their helmets looked like skulls of birds of prey. They moved fast and silent, trained from birth to fight. Explosions shook the ground again. Rylan did not stop. Just as he connected the final circuit, something moved in the corner of his eye. A figure crashed down near a broken supply crate. Armor cracked. Dust flew. It was a Valari warrior, and she was alive. Rylan froze for a moment. She was larger than a human woman, with smooth, dark silver armor plates covering her limbs and torso. Her helmet had a sharp, curved design. She tried to push herself up but fell back. Her breathing was rough and uneven. Her right shoulder armor was damaged badly, fused into her skin by heat from an explosion. The wound was severe. She tried to raise her weapon toward him, but her hand trembled. The weapon's power cell flickered weakly. Her voice came out soft but sharp. Stay back. Human... Rylan looked at her injury. If she stayed there, she would bleed out or get shot by someone else. And despite the war, he could not walk away from someone dying in front of him. He spoke calmly. I'm not going to hurt you. If I leave you like this, you will die. The Valari warrior stared at him. Her helmet visor retracted halfway, revealing part of her face. Pale silver skin, sharp eyes, and long patterns of faint glowing lines under her skin. She did not understand mercy. Valari trained to fight until death. Retreat or surrender was shameful. You show pity? She asked slowly, voice confused. Rylan did not answer. Instead, he reached down and grabbed her under the arm. She tried to resist, but her strength failed. She was heavy. Valari bone structure was denser than humans. He pulled her behind a collapsed bunker wall where the gunfire couldn't reach. She watched him with unblinking eyes. She did not speak. She did not trust him, but she did not have the strength to stop him either. Rylan activated his wristcom. Command, this is Rylan. I have an injured Valari combatant. I'm taking her to repair bay for emergency medical stabilization. Static. Then a voice. Rylan, are you insane? Leave her. We have wounded of our own. Rylan replied sharply. If I leave her, she dies. I don't leave people to die, human or not. He cut the comm before they could argue more. He dragged the Valari through smoke and rubble, step by step, breathing hard. The repair bay door slid open with a hiss. He pulled her inside and shut the door. The noise of battle outside continued, muffled now by thick walls. The room was quiet. Tools hung from racks. Work lights hummed softly. The Valari lay on a metal examination table now, breathing slower but still tense. Rylan removed his helmet. Sweat dripped from his forehead. He spoke gently. I need to remove your damaged armor. It's fused into your shoulder tissue. If I don't, infection will spread fast. The Valari did not answer immediately. Her eyes were fixed on him. There was no fear, only caution. Valari warriors were trained to endure pain, but they were not trained to be treated by an enemy. Finally, she nodded once. My name is Soraka, she said, voice quiet. Rylan nodded. Rylan Hayes. He cleaned his tools. He turned on a precision laser cutter set to microheat. He prepared cooling solution to prevent skin burn. When he started cutting the fused armor, Soraka's body tensed. Her claws gripped the metal table. She did not scream. She only breathed deeply, slow and controlled, but when the tool reached the deepest fused section, the pain became sharp. Her voice broke for the first time, not loud, not dramatic, only soft and honest. Please, be gentle, human. Rylan did not stop moving, but his expression changed. Her words carried trust, something rare in war. He spoke quietly. I will. I promise. He continued carefully, slow and precise. His hands were steady like always. He protected the tissue. He cooled the wound. He removed the last piece of armor. Soraka exhaled shakily and closed her eyes. Her pain eased. Rylan bandaged the wound and stepped back. Soraka opened her eyes again and looked at him, with new understanding. Not peace, not friendship, but respect. Outside, explosions continued. Inside, two enemies had stopped being enemies, if only for this moment. The repair bay was quiet except for the soft electrical hum of lights and medical tools. Outside, the battle still echoed like distant thunder. Rylan finished tightening the final bandage around Soraka's injured shoulder. Her breathing had steadied, though she still lay weak from blood loss and exhaustion. Rylan stepped back and wiped his hands. His gloves were stained with dark violet Valari blood. He had helped many human soldiers before, but this was the first time he had ever treated someone who was supposed to be his enemy. Soraka watched him silently. Valari did not show emotions openly. Their culture valued control, strength, and discipline, but there was a different look in her eyes now. Something thoughtful, something new. You saved me, she said slowly, as though testing the words. Rylan shrugged. You were dying. I don't like watching people die. Soraka blinked once, confused. To Valari warriors, mercy was strange. They grew up hearing that weakness invited danger, and compassion created vulnerability. But here was a human who risked his own life to save her without asking anything in return. Humans are unusual, she murmured. Rylan gave a tired half-smile. We hear that a lot. He was about to check the outer sensors when a loud explosion shook the walls. Dust fell from the ceiling. The lights flickered. Soraka tried to sit up. Rylan moved quickly. Don't. Your body is still recovering. But Soraka insisted. She forced herself upright, though her muscles trembled. No time. My forces will regroup. Your soldiers will defend. The battle is not over. Rylan didn't deny it. He knew the outpost wouldn't hold much longer. Supplies were low. Ammunition was limited. Reinforcements were still weeks away. The Valari would try again soon, maybe in larger numbers. Soraka reached toward her damaged weapon, but her hand shook. Rylan placed it back down gently. It's empty, and you are not ready to fight. Soraka stared at him with something like frustration and something like respect. You act like we are allies, she said quietly. Rylan paused. At this moment, you are someone injured in my care. That's all that matters to me. Soraka lowered her gaze. There was no answer she could give. Her culture had no words for this kind of thinking. Outside, the outpost hours passed. The battle outside slowed. Valari ground troops retreated to regroup. Human forces remained tense and alert. Smoke drifted across the desert moon under a pale sky. In the command center, Captain Arwen Graves leaned over the tactical map, her face stern and focused. She was a strong leader, fair, calm, and tactical. But when she heard the report about Rylan bringing an enemy soldier inside, her jaw tightened. "Rylan Hayes," she said over the intercom. "Report to command immediately." Rylan sighed. He looked at Soraka. "I'll return. Don't move too much." Soraka gave a very small nod, almost like agreement. Rylan stepped outside and walked to command. Soldiers stared at him. Some whispered. To them, he had brought a dangerous enemy inside the base. They did not understand the situation. He entered the briefing room. Captain Graves stood with arms crossed. "Explain what you have done," she said calmly. Rylan stayed steady. "She was dying. I saved her. She is stable now. She is Valari," the captain said firmly. "We are at war." "Yes," Rylan replied. "Which means thousands die every day. If we can show them even small mercy, maybe things change." The captain studied him. Rylan was known for being level-headed and reliable. He was not reckless. Finally, she exhaled. "Very well, but hear me clearly. If she becomes a threat, if she harms even one soldier—" "I know," Rylan said softly. "I will take responsibility." The captain nodded. "Keep her contained. Observe her behavior." "And Rylan?" He looked up. "You did a good thing," she said quietly, "even if others won't see it yet." Rylan felt a small warmth of relief. Back in the repair bay, Rylan returned and found Soraka sitting more upright, examining the tools near her. She heard him enter but did not reach for anything. She simply spoke. "Your leader allowed me to stay." Rylan nodded. "For now, but you must not attempt to escape or harm anyone." Soraka's response was calm and clear. "I am a warrior. I honor agreements. I will not attempt violence," Rylan believed her. Valari were strict about their honor. He sat on a metal stool, facing her. "Soraka, I want to understand something. Why were the Valari so eager to conquer human territory? We didn't attack first. We didn't threaten you." Soraka looked at him with steady, serious eyes. "You grew too fast." Rylan blinked. "What?" "Humans spread quickly across space. You adapt fast. You improve technology without limit. For us, it took centuries to grow. You did in decades what others did in lifetimes. Many Valari leaders fear what humans may become." Rylan thought about that. Humans did learn fast. They always pushed forward, so the war started because— "You were afraid of us?" Soraka hesitated. "Some were afraid. Some were proud. Some saw opportunity. Empires do not like rivals." Rylan leaned back. He had always believed humanity fought this war to defend themselves. He had never considered that the Valari fought out of fear too. Soraka continued quietly. "But now I see humans differently." She looked down at her healed shoulder. "The careful bandages, the neat stitching. You are dangerous. Yes, but you are also kind. You help even those who are not your own." Rylan didn't speak. He didn't need to. A sudden attack, a sharp alarm cut through the still air. "Warning. Airspace breach, enemy dropships. Incoming." The Valari were attacking again. Rylan grabbed his tool pack and stood quickly. Soraka struggled to her feet. "No," Rylan said. "You cannot fight. You are injured." Soraka braced herself against the table. "My honor does not allow me to remain while others risk themselves. I may not be your soldier, but I will not lie here and watch." Rylan looked into her eyes. He saw determination there. Not violence, not hatred, just the instinct of a warrior who refused to be useless. And he realized something. She was no longer his enemy. He grabbed a spare shoulder guard, lightweight human alloy, and quickly adjusted the straps to fit her. It was not perfect, but it protected her wound. Soraka watched him work. This time she did not say anything, but the trust was clear. Rylan finished and handed her a shock spear, non-energy based, easy to use even with weakness. She gripped it firmly and nodded. They stepped toward the exit. The battle outside was waiting. But now, they would face it together. Two warriors, two sides of a war, standing not as enemies but as allies, if only for this moment. The desert air outside the outpost was filled with dust and smoke. The alarms continued to sound, echoing across the empty rocky plains. The human soldiers ran to defensive positions, preparing for another attack. The ground shook slightly as the Volari dropships descended again, their engines glowing with blue-white flames. Rylan stood at the entrance of the repair bay, breathing slowly and preparing himself mentally. He was not a soldier, but he had seen enough battles to understand fear. He carried only his sidearm and some emergency tools. Beside him stood Siraka, a Volari warrior, her silver skin and deep glowing lines dimmed from injury, but her posture straight, steady and unbroken. She leaned slightly on the shock spear Rylan had given her, but she did not show weakness in her eyes. "You are sure you are strong enough?" Rylan asked quietly. Siraka let out a calm breath. "Strength is not only of the body. Strength is also of purpose," Rylan nodded. He understood. They stepped out into the open base yard. Human soldiers stared in shock. Many of them froze when they saw Siraka. Some aimed their weapons, alarmed. But Rylan raised his hand quickly. "She is with me," he called. "She is no threat. She fights with us." There was confusion, whispering, doubt. Some soldiers looked angry, others looked frightened. But right then they did not have time to argue. The dropships were landing. Captain Graves approached, inspecting Siraka silently. Their eyes met. Two warriors, two worlds, two purposes. Graves spoke with steady command voice. "Then she fights under human rules. Protect allies. No unnecessary kills." Siraka bowed her head slightly. "A Volari sign of honor." "I understand." Then the ground shook as the battle began. The battle begins. Volari soldiers poured out from their dropships, moving in tight formation. They were disciplined, fast, and deadly. Their armor gleamed under the harsh light. Energy blasts cut through the air. Human soldiers responded with turret fire, rifles, and drones. The sound of war filled everything. Bright flashes, deep booms, and shouted commands. Siraka moved forward first. Even injured, she was swift. She blocked an enemy strike with her shock spear and swept the attacker to the ground. She did not kill him, she disabled him. Other Volari noticed, confused by her choice. They hesitated. That hesitation was valuable. Rylan stayed behind cover, repairing a damaged defense emitter. Sparks flew as he rewired circuits under heavy fire. A human soldier shouted, "Engineer! We need that barrier up, I know! Give me 20 seconds!" Rylan answered, voice strained. Siraka stayed close to him, protecting him from incoming attacks. When a Volari warrior charged toward Rylan, Siraka intercepted, blocking the blow. The attacking Volari looked shocked when she recognized Siraka. "Commander Siraka, you fight with humans?" Siraka did not show sadness or anger. Her voice was steady. "I fight for what is right. Stand down. Leave now." But the Volari soldier refused, driven by loyalty to the Dominion. Siraka struck once, cleanly, disabling him without killing. Rylan finished connecting the final wire. The energy barrier powered up, glowing a bright defensive field that blocked enemy fire and gave humans breathing room. Cheers erupted from the human side. But the battle was far from over. The turning point, among the Volari forces, a larger figure stepped out, wearing a heavy, dark armor with glowing orange engravings. His presence was powerful. His voice cut through the chaos like a blade. "Siraka." Siraka froze. Rylan looked toward the approaching figure. "Who is that?" Siraka's jaw tightened. "My commander. High Warlord Varric." Varric walked forward with slow, deliberate steps. He was larger than most Volari, his armor thick and ceremonial. His eyes glowed like burning embers. He spoke in the Volari tongue first, then switched to human language so all could hear. "You kneel with our enemy. You shame your clan. You throw away your honor." Siraka straightened her back. Her voice was calm, but there was deep emotion inside it. "I did not betray honor. I protected life. Honor is not only battle. Honor is the courage to choose the right path." Varric raised his weapon. "A heavy energy blade. Then your path ends here." Rylan stepped forward immediately. "Wait, she's injured." Siraka raised her hand to stop him. "No. Rylan, this is my responsibility." Rylan hesitated, but he respected her. The other soldiers stepped back, forming a wide circle in the open battlefield. Fire burned around them, smoke drifted, metal glowed with heat. The two Volari warriors faced each other, one fighting for tradition, one for a new understanding. Varric attacked. His strikes were strong, heavy, meant to crush. Siraka blocked as best as she could, but her injury slowed her. She stepped back, breathing harder. Rylan watched, fists clenched. Soraka dodged another strike, but her weakened arm faltered. Her spear nearly slipped. Varric swung again. Rylan couldn't stand still anymore. He grabbed a fallen human combat shield and ran forward. He blocked Varric's next strike with the shield and the impact nearly knocking him off his feet. Varric looked down at him. Surprised, a human interferes. Rylan stood firm, though his arms shook. She is not fighting alone anymore. Soraka stared at him, shocked. Then, something deep and meaningful softened in her expression. Not romance, not dependence, respect, solidarity, shared purpose. Together, they fought. Soraka regained balance. Rylan distracted Varric, forcing him to divide his attention. Shock spear swung. Shield blocked. Sparks flew. Energy blasts lit the battlefield. Finally, Soraka saw her chance. She struck the energy coupling on Varric's armor. Not to kill him, but to disable him. His weapon shut down. His suit lost power. He fell to one knee, breathing heavily. Human and Valari soldiers stared in silence. Soraka approached Varric. She did not raise her spear to finish him. She simply spoke. This war does not need to continue. Varric looked up, and for the first time, doubt flickered in his eyes. Rylan stepped beside Soraka, steady and calm. This can end differently, he said quietly. We don't have to destroy each other. The battlefield waited. There was no dramatic cheering, no loud celebration, just quiet understanding beginning to form. Varric lowered his gaze. He gave the smallest nod. Not surrender. Not defeat. Acknowledgement. After the battle hours later, the battlefield was quiet. Both sides had pulled back. Medical teams treated wounded from both armies. No one attacked. No one shouted. Everyone was tired of loss. Soraka sat on a stone ledge watching the pale sky. Rylan stood beside her. What happens now? He asked. Soraka looked toward the horizon. Perhaps this moon will be the place where something changes. A beginning instead of an end, Rylan nodded. We started as enemies, Soraka turned to him. But we did not stay. Enemies, there were no grand speeches, no sudden peace. Treaty. But something important had begun. Understanding. And sometimes, that was the strongest thing in the galaxy.